to introduce someone who has shown tremendous leadership on this issue from the very start, the President of the EU Commission, my friend, Ursula von der Leyen.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Sunak, dear Rishi. Presidents, Prime Ministers, Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. What an inspiring speech. And indeed, such an inspiring speech and hope-raising speech against the backdrop that every day we see the devastation brought by Russia to Ukraine. The people of Ukraine are enduring every horror from every direction. From the sky, fire rains. From the ground, they watch their towns sink underwater. Russia fires missiles at innocent civilians for no other reason than one man's delusional attempt to restore a lost empire. But every day we see also something else. And that is what I witnessed firsthand when I last visited the country just over a month ago. I saw a country that does everything possible to rise from the ashes of the war. Every day Ukrainians show us what they are fighting for and what they are dying for. They show it on the battlefield. They show it on their streets. They show it in the classrooms. They are fighting for their future, for a Ukraine free from Russian invaders, for a Ukraine that decides its own destiny, for a Ukraine rebuilt and revitalized. In just over a year, Ukrainians have cleared rubble from 2,000 kilometers of roads, rebuilt over 40 bridges, renewed 900 train stations and depots. And all of this while fighting a war for their own survival. But Ukrainians are not just restoring what used to be. They show us how they are already reshaping their country. Ukrainians are reimagining their future amidst all the loss, the pain and the suffering. Let me tell you about Irpin School number 17. Shrapnel damaged the school's roof, destroyed its walls, broke all its windows and destroyed the heating system. And so when children came back to their lessons, they did so in unimaginable cold, until a local NGO stepped in with a simple and creative solution. They installed solar panels on the roof so children could learn in warmth. This small but meaningful use of clean energy to revitalize everyday life is just one example of how Ukraine is not just rebuilding, but reimagining itself. Ukraine has stunned us with their bravery. They have inspired us with their ingenuity. And they have awed us with the way they are transforming their country in pursuit of their dream. And dear friends, it is this dream of a cleaner, greener, more modern Ukraine that will be the lasting legacy of this atrocious war. And it is our responsibility to make it happen. Because Ukrainians are fighting not just for their sovereignty, but we've just heard it also for us, for our values, for our freedom, for our democracies. We can never match their sacrifice, but we can, and we do all stand united, coordinated and resolute that Ukraine must win, will win, and has our support. not just for as long as it takes to secure peace, but for a country they are imagining, a country that attracts foreign investment, a country that is master of its future, a country that is a member of the European Union. Together, we will support Ukraine not as individual nations, but as a coordinated community organized under an innovative platform. A platform that will channel support to the reforms and priorities that will make imagination reality. Together we gather here to tell Ukrainians that their dream is also our dream. In January, we all created the so-called multi-agency donor coordination platform. It is a first of its kind in the history of international aid. It brings together Ukraine, the G7, the European Union, the European Investment Bank, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the IMF, and the World Bank. It creates a single focal point for international donors to guarantee that support goes exactly where Ukraine needs it most. The European Commission is contributing 18 billion euros already this year, and together with other donors, we closed Ukrainians' budget gap for 2023, so that Ukraine can continue to pay salaries, pensions, and, for example, for their health care. This is for Ukraine's immediate needs. But let's talk about the future. I believe the European Union has a special responsibility. And the reason is simple. We heard the President. Ukrainians tell us that when they imagine their future, they see Europe's flag flying over their cities. And I have no doubt that Ukraine will be part of our union. So today, I want to announce two new steps. The first is about Ukraine's reforms and its path towards EU membership. Despite the war, Ukraine has accelerated its reform agenda with impressive speed and resolve. We in the European Union want to match efforts and dedication. And this is why today the European Commission presents a new oral update on the progress Ukraine made, on judicial reform, on anti-corruption, on new laws for media freedom and international minorities, for example. With these reforms, Ukraine also sends a powerful message to private investors. They will get the transparency, the fairness, and the functioning institutions they need to invest in Ukraine. And this is especially important because we need the private sector to step into. Because it is you, the private sector, with your invaluable expertise and your financial firepower that will help Ukraine realize its dreams. You're here today at this conference, and we really need you, and we know we can rely on you. And that brings me to my last point. We want to match Ukrainian reforms with European investments. For every step Ukraine takes towards us, the European Union must take a step towards Ukraine. Yesterday, the European Commission proposed to create a new facility for Ukraine within the budget of the European Union. It will ensure constant financial support till 2027. The facility will be financed in three ways: with grants from the European budget, with loans raised on capital markets, and eventually with proceeds from the immobilized Russian assets. We will come with a proposal for these assets before the summer break because the perpetrator has to be held accountable. Now, what are the estimated needs? Until 2027, Ukraine's remaining fiscal gap is about 60 billion euros. The needs for fast recovery on top are about 50 billion euros. That makes in total 110 billion euros until 2027 that are not covered. Therefore, yesterday I proposed to EU member states to cover 45% of this gap. This is in total 50 billion euros for Ukraine. And we will work with Ukraine on a corresponding plan, and we heard the first outlines of the plan, and more details will come today, for investments and reform. This plan could become an anchor for all international donors, including the private sector. You need predictability, you need clarity, you need transparency. This will help our coordination and will maximize our impact. And this is what I mean when we say we are with Ukraine for as long as it takes. Ladies and gentlemen, Putin shattered peace on our continent on February 24th in 2022. But he triggered also Ukraine's journey towards its dream. And it's our job and our duty to the Ukrainians who've paid the ultimate sacrifice that we ensure that this reimagined future becomes reality, brick by brick, house by house, school by school. Together we are by Ukraine's side for the long haul. Slava Ukraine.
Well, hello everybody. As you